Hey guys, I'm Chris. Welcome to Soul Alone, the entree. I believe that's Soul and then it's just Alone, the entree, or something. I don't know, but that's the title. Anyways, so I received this game in my mail, actually, a code for it recently, a couple days ago, and I don't know why. It's random and out of the blue, but definitely appreciated. So I thought I'm definitely gonna play this today. So I don't know what this is, but quick warning. First, this is going to be just a lot of reading and decisions. So it's like a choose your own adventure type of thing, from what I can tell from the pictures. Second, there is going to be some disturbing graphic content possibly in here, according to the warning on their page as well. So if that's not something you're into, then please leave the video now. Otherwise, if you're interested to see what this is about, then let's get started. Let's start a new Soul. Or Seul. I don't know. Okay. Okay. It's about to begin again. Shh, I know. Well, how far do you think? Not very. Now keep quiet, would you? We're about to begin. And my only option is tumble out. Looking for something? Yes. Oh, okay, I have to scroll. Okay, fascinating. Okay. Everything is black, but it feels thick, almost blankety. Complete blackness totally surrounds you. All you can feel is a hard floor beneath your feet. It's smooth and polished. You are sure of that. The darkness can be felt against your skin, like it has a solidarity to it in some way. There are no sounds or smells, but you feel if there were, they would have to work slightly harder to move through the velvet veil of blackness. You hear a lady with a soft, silky voice. Looking for something, darling? You reply, wait, what? Where am I? Stay silent and feel your way around. Let's stay silent and feel our way around for now. What happens? Careful now, darling. Wandering around in the dark ain't the smartest of options. You move cautiously with arms outstretched, slowly waving back and forth, sliding one foot outwards from the other. Fear fills your chest with every slight bit of progress. Oh, Peggy! Stop meddling and give me some goddamn light! You hear a thunderous man's voice yell. Ooh. It almost makes you jump out of your skin. Lucky you didn't. You've still got further to go, friend. Should I yell, I wonder? I'm gonna keep quiet for now. I'm kind of curious. You stay silent. Cautious. Hoping like a child, closing their hands over their face. If I can't see them, then perhaps they can't see me. Right now it seems like the best survival move. Where the hell am I? Oh, okay, it's hard to kind of read these a bit. Let's see. Move a little further or crouch low to the ground and kneel. You can probably move quicker that way. But I don't know where I'm going. Let's just move a little farther. You move a little further into the darkness, holding back every part of your body from running into the nothingness, but also from screaming out loud with anger and fear. You hold your voice in your throat, tightening every single muscle. Your eyes are peeled wide open, even though you can see nothing, so much of your focus and awareness is being used by your hearing. Okay. That's creepy. Anyways, then when a light opens not too far in front of you, you are caught off guard, completely frozen stiff, like your mind has lost its ability to function. What is that creepy sound? Exclamation. Okay. Oh. Oh. Okay, what's going on? A Native American warrior of some sort stands motionless almost in a guarding pose or even in a trance. Whatever it is, you feel as though he definitely hasn't noticed you yet. He's holding a blade. The shine caught your eye. Approach him. Let's approach him now. We've stuck to the darkness for quite a while. Let's see what happens now. Let's approach them, man. You move cautiously towards him. You feel the light illuminate your skin. It feels cold, like fresh, cold blue sheets. He shows no signs of noticing you. You move closer and stand before him. He looks sad. His eyes are welled up with tears, but they haven't overflowed yet. Let's wave your hand over his eyes, see if he's responsive. Alright, let's check that out. Oh, okay, well, that did that automatically. You begin to wave your hand over his face. Unresponsive, he is in some sort of dream state. He must. Okay. His blade enters your stomach. You feel it slide up effortlessly inside you. You hear the air leave you, the blood beginning to leak and trickle out of you. You try to touch his face and ask why. Why any of this, but nothing comes out. Your mouth just awkwardly gapes open like an old man asleep on the couch. Jesus, I hope this is just a dream. Please, let this just be a dream. Sorry, I'm not going to read the F words. I apologize if you don't like it. He stutters in another tongue as his tears begin to fall, almost as though he was just done wasn't under his control. Those tears, sorry. You understand it as you fade to black. Be gentle as the spring rain, soul alone. Okay, well, I guess that was an ending. Okay. Previous soul. What does that mean? Well, I guess let's try this again. Alright, so I'm not going to read this. We're just going to... Alright, this time we're going to try to sing Where Am I? Oh, darling, you're back where you've been before, but never happened to stay too long. You always seem to have your mind made up and bags packed. Come to think of it, her voice does have this familiar feeling in a way. Could this be a dream? Let's ask her name. Is that her, I guess? Alright, how's it going? Everything comes into focus, almost pushing the darkness away. It's her, the voice. She's slumped in the chair, looking at you almost as though she's watching you without any interest. Like she's seen a familiar face she knows all too well, almost completely knowing you. Alright, just a couple dots. Emiliana is the name, darling. Nice to meet you. She smirks coyishly as if knowing something you do not. Alright, let's ask the bottom one. I feel like I know you. It's so strange. Curious to see how that goes. Well, darling, I would imagine so. After all the things you've done to me, she smiles flirtatiously. Done to you? Yes, done to me over and over again. The games we've played, the pain you've caused me, the pleasure, oh darling, the pleasure. She breathes deeply, slowly pushing her chest out, sinking even more into her chair. She closes her eyes. Her hands move down towards her knees and slithers up towards her inner thighs. Na 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 na. Maybe she's crazy, but this is too good to turn down. I think you have me confused with somebody else. Let's go with the bottom one. Okay then. You walk over to her. This must be a dream, so it means I can do anything in here that I want. And I want her. You rip her shirt down, exposing her back as she turns away from you. You feel excitement surge through you. want me?" she whispers. Her dreamy eyes look up at you as she turns her head ever so gently. She raises herself in the seat. Her lips are luscious and red. You are sure you can smell her hair or the perfume scent that is only a trace now, but you know it. You are familiar with it. Or it to you. Lavender. "Do you want me?" she asks again, with a whispered long breath as she inhales slowly and deeply while arching her back, pushing herself and resting on you. Her hands grip her loose shirt and dress at the waist. She's ready, waiting to take them off. Yes. Okay, yes, she looks up at you and smiles as you move into her. Your hands run down the side of her face and you lean down to kiss her. Her mouth is already warm and wet. You realize as your tongues pass each other that you are oddly cold. Colder than her. She is fire compared to you. She moans. You feel cold and dead in comparison. Your free hand slides down her shoulder and grips her waist. She exhales and her breath smells sweet. While she kisses you, you feel her body moving, sliding her clothes down. You close your eyes, enjoying the state of arousal you find yourself in, focusing on every motion of movement, every touch of her warmth. You open your eyes in a dreamy and euphoric way. She smiles at her hand tenderly lays itself upon the side of your face. She is half turned now. Your eyes drift down below her waist. Oh, good God. Ugh. Ugh. I wonder if these are real pictures. Ugh, creepy. Blah. Her legs are separated, lying on the floor. You vault away. Your eyes widen. You look back at her. She's passed out. You gasp for air. Where did this go wrong? What the hell? Sorry, once again, not reading afterwards. I apologize. You step backwards in fright, mouth gaping, trying to scream, but it is without a sound. The surrounding blackness seems darker now. All that stands in contrast, colleged and framed in the body of a woman with amputated legs. It isn't even Amia? What was her name? Where is this? Suddenly you notice movement to your right. Your head spins to its destination, heart filled with dread. As a pig? A pig waddles into the light, sniffing and grunting. Heading towards the direction of the body, you turn back to the body. Turn. She stands in front of you. Oh God, hey. She stands in front of you. You feel strangeness and terror roll over you, confusion and lunacy. I'm in hell or I'm insane. All I wanted to do, I don't have a good, was frig, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of a good alternative. It's just a freak Joe. Okay, sorry. She begins to shake violently, almost like static white noise. She still hasn't turned around. You begin to black out, unable to move or breathe. She fades away, and now it is only darkness. You can feel yourself drifting away, your conscious self separating. Suddenly you see, what the F is that? What is that? That is hideous. Is that like a little vulture or something? Some kind of little weird bird, but that's a hideous picture. A featherless baby bird chirping its feeble state. It can barely get a sound out, but it sounds like a weak-lunged soul. I don't know how to say it. Soul. The end, undoubtedly, is always close. Soul, alone. The end. Well, this certainly is engaging. God. Okay, well, I want to do one more. This is absolutely fantastic. I don't know what else to say about it. Alright, so maybe don't... Well, maybe let's talk to her again. Okay, let's ask, is this a dream now? Oh, what the hell is that? Okay, creepy. His light begins to glow a few feet in front of you. 3 cats sit upon rocking chairs. This female voice begins. But of course, darling, it's where everything comes in a fully unconnected circle. Where 3 is 1. Do you ever listen to a song for that one part? This is that part where it all folds in on itself. What? You think to yourself? Oh, doll, you should rub your eyes now. I guess I'm rubbing my eyes. Rub your eyes. Oh, okay. Okay. I heard that already. What else can I choose now? Okay, let's go in the middle one. A pleasure to meet you. May I call you Leanna? Darling, you can call me whatever you like. It makes no difference here. Names don't mean much. More the interactions do. She smiles flirtatiously. Themes are so formal. She adds in a mystic way, almost as if a cool breeze caught her words and drifted them away. Interactions? Interactions, you ask? Yes, the interactions between us, between you and I, darling. Don't you want that? She smiles, closing her eyes and slowly running her fingers seductively down her neck towards her chest. Alright, well, I already kind of know where that leads, so let's try a different option. No thank you, Leanna. I'm not interested in those interactions with you. Ooh, that's a harsh turn down. Oh well, darling, it's your loss. Loss? Lost. Stretching at first like a cat waking from a spring afternoon, her arms fall back onto herself, heavily and weakened. I'm tired of carrying mountains that I one day dream of climbing. She sounds utterly defeated. Mountains? Oh God, what is that? Wow, okay. She stares vacantly out into the darkness for a while. Her eyes are glazed like a silent morning. Her eyes begin to water slightly, and their sparkle catches your entire attention. I've been having terrible dreams of late. I find myself in a state of perpetual sadness. On one hand, I do know there is a luxury in thinking, in contemplating, but on the other hand, it never stops. I don't want it on my mind all the time. Do you know what it's like, being the crumb that exists? She pauses for a moment, looking you up and down slowly. Then she seems to look beyond you, past you, outward, towards the blackness behind you. No, I'm sure you wouldn't. Actually, darling, maybe you would. But definitely not the reader. The readers are something more than us. I'm stretched and strained. Oh, darling, all I get here are headaches. Headaches accompanied by anger and pain, and time is the tragedy. It's just a question of faith. Is there just the baker who decided to... Oh, is it just a question of faith? Is there just the baker who decided to have this crumb, me here, and decided to have me here, crumbling, captured in these questions? What a counterfactual idea of metaphysical nonsense. A girl with a mind to question the intentions of herself, a mind questioning its own mind. Oh, darling, darling, a chain of drunk coincidence, maybe, questioning everything. She wipes her face with her hands and then stretches her fingers through her hair. It smoothly glides between her whitened knuckles. Her hand tilts back, exposing the defined ridges, curves, and lines of her face. Their smoothness become uncherished highways. You feel a sudden head rush, a lonely head rush, like passing a sign on a dark highway road, having it become illuminated suddenly and then passed over back into the dark again just as abruptly. However, in your vision, you are not the driver. For some reason she is, but she is ghostly, transparent, almost as you can also see everything from her point of view, or just above her, maybe to the upper right of her head. As the sign emerges from the dark, a figure stands beside it. You are the one out there on the side of the road, standing next to the passing by sign, staring into the vehicle as it speeds past. You see yourself come into the headlight, and then the red glow of the taillights bathe you as you are swallowed again. You continue to stare through the rear vision mirror as you return to where you are currently. Am I? Is she? Are we? Protruded pale knuckles gliding through silky black hair? Or is there a piece of us lost in here somewhere, you consider? Tell me, doll, what does it even mean to exist? Especially in here where nothing really happens, ever. For example, if you were to think of the word color, without mercy or malice, you might get an explanation involving light. Light, darling, light. But of exist, you only ever get other words describing the same thing. Damned mirrors upon mirrors. This whole place seems like it's stuck in a dark corner of a mirror, a dead spot in the reflection, but whose reflection am I stuck in, you think to yourself. Is it different for different people asking the same questions? What of the readers, the ones who truly just visit and know the score, who after this just leave? Such freedom. Could it just be what is, and nothing more, crystal clear? Just all in our minds, just whatever is real. Maybe the readers have the same questions as us and aren't so different. Perhaps that's why they come. Amelia shifts in her chair and looks around as though... Emiliana shifts in her chair and looks around as though checking whether or not there's anyone else around. She leans in towards you, and her voice lowers to a more serious note. Darling, how do we even tell what does exist and what does not? How do we protect ourselves from it and find the answers that are lost? Does existence require something to affect something else? If it doesn't affect anything, does it not exist? Darling, would it require the need to create change on something, no matter how slight or soft, or at least resist itself being changed by something else? She's staring past you again, not through you, but just beyond you. So it's just being able to prevent change that otherwise would have taken effect, or create and that would have otherwise not happened like this. Wow, so many options. What? Well, I think I understand. You've lost me. Are you actually insane? Here's another option. Do I exist? Existence is overrated. I think, therefore I am. I'm gonna try this one. She smirks with a look of accomplishment and lounges back into her chair, sedated, almost with achievement. No matter how minuscule the effect is, it still shows it to exist. Even where intentionally creating all the options to lead to the same outcome, and a compendium of effects merely affecting other effects, which then effect upon effect. So, darling, if I've then affected you just now, does that mean I exist just as much as you, even for a split moment? Is that the true function or extent of my purpose? I guess, darling, it just may be for now. That'll have to do. Maybe, darling, the real question is, how do I live? How do we live? You, me, the reader, all of us. It just all could be one big coincidence, and the only difference is the degree of suffering. The greater the suffering, the smaller the coincidence. A flip side of fate, like an idea, like an atom bomb, like fiction pushing itself into our mind and gripping a slither of existence, trying to prove itself that it has purpose and meaning. Darling, it all feels like it's falling away. She smiles and looks directly at you. Do you think you're like me, wanting someone to be, afraid of losing you, always finding yourself terrified of losing the ones closest to you, doubting anyone would ever fight to keep you around? I'm not sure, let's say. Run. Why run? Run was the last thing you heard her scream in your face before you could comprehend the situation. You were already running aimlessly into the darkness. As you ran, you were sure you heard her screaming. It came almost from nowhere. Why is there a dog barking? She just flipped out. Already being on edge, it shocked you into instant flight. Am I just running in circles or a straight line? What if my balance or sense of direction is slightly off and I'm doing a big circle? You stop. You stand still, hands on knees, panting, looking around in the darkness. Your saliva is wet and cold. You swallow some of it and it feels refreshing. Ugh. Existence. You relax, abandoning the stiffness. Am I like her in this place? I feel like I'm fading, not falling out of existence. I don't understand this place. The dark, a baker, crumbs and readers. Her losing her shit at me. Was she saving me or just scaring the shit out of me for some shits and giggles? Crazy ass bitch. You stand just out taking deep breaths, trying to get the heart rate relaxing. But I do know there's no turning back. She scared the Jesus out of me. Move into the darkness. Ooh, what's that? What the heck is that? Ooh, ow, creepy. You walk on for some time, mainly just listening and waving your arms before you in order not to fall face first into anything. But you notice this is starting to gain longer breaks between each arm wave, like your brain is getting used to the fact that there's nothing in front of you. Oh, that's some lovely music. Every now and then a bit of fear pops back into mind, so that there could be a wall or a sudden drop in front of you. So you slow, caution slows your movement, and then relaxes again after some time. This is exhausting, you think to yourself, and a light pulses dimly just ahead, like being lost at sea and finally noticing the light emerging from a lighthouse after being misplaced at sea for days. The light offers hope, land, salvation. You move towards it, but slowly and cautiously with a serene calm. It could be the exhaustion or it could be precaution. It's too hard to tell, but one thing you already know is in this place, sometimes the land can be more treacherous than the sea of blackness. What does that mean? Alright, let's try that. Hey reader, you pick this option. Let's see what happens. Everything freezes. Your character, the darkness. Even though it's dark, you feel it all become still. So still, in fact, that you seem to be here, but also out there, or in there. Or more just where you happen to be at this very moment. Texts and sound, noises are all that follows. The sounds carry themselves on, pre-recorded, echoing of what was something before, but drifting on, letting go, ejecting you, making you once again aware of yourself and your surroundings. What self do I speak of? The voice inside of you, course, surroundings? Well, where are you at this very moment? Quick, do me a favor, look up and around. Oh, I wish I could see what you're seeing at this very moment. How cool it would be to have that ability, don't you think? But let's get back to that inner voice. You know, this one reading, can you hear it? Have you ever studied it, really? I mean, really listen to your voice. The truest narration of all these things happening, of all these happenings. Of fiction, but somehow a solid world within your mind, following letters to words to voice your voice and my words in here where you are truly soul alone that I now address, and it's important that you begin to listen to it more often, especially when it begins to wander off by itself. That's where the magic is, you know. Funny, I was alone when I wrote this, and I happened to be listening as it began to wander. So I recorded what it said, but that was before. Who knows how long before? But now you have passed me in the present you. Don't worry, I'm merely a specter now. Words from a phantom. I wonder what I'm doing right now, the present me, if I'm still around even. Don't you wish you could tap in through this semi-connection we are having and be able to see what I'm seeing at this very moment? How cool would that ability be to have, don't you think? Oh well, on we go. Let's introduce a voice, a character, another piece of the story, another fragment to unfold. Forget we, no, you were ever here, and let's continue. Hi. A whispered voice comes from the jet black surroundings. You feel uncomfortable, like something slipped. It could have just been the startle, thinking as you stand, reflexes at the ready, looking every which way. Only the one light in the distance glows and hums, waiting and daring not to move a muscle other than your head darting around with the upper torso following fluidly, like a dancing cobra emerging from a clay pot, defensively trying to cover all angles of the potential attack. The light darts across and against the direction of your vision and peripheral as it was a firefly mixed with the straightened speed of a shooting star. It disappears as you look behind you, leaving streaked patterns to your vision, peering into a black wall at face-to-face distance. Don't worry, I'm not here to harm. I have no intention of that, nor do I trust you. The voice whispers. The voice sounds male, but weak, polite. I noticed you, and by the looks of things, you're new here. Hard to pin down or locate at all. You stand at the ready. For some reason, you find yourself looking downwards and a few feet ahead at waist height, as if this voice is coming from somewhere a child tallness. What do you want, then? You whisper back, having no reason to be whispering, but you do anyways. If I can just focus, just notice some movement or silhouette, I could size this thing up and see if it's small like I'm thinking. I'm gonna grab this little prick. I'm just replacing that with that one this time. Thinking while peering as hard as possible, studying every patch of black your eyes locks onto. The corner of your vision can still see the twinkle of the light in the distance. I won't be staying long. I have to keep moving around here. Remember that, wanderer. See, I noticed you were new and you seemed decent. It's a risk, but folks need help too. So that's a risk I'm willing to take. If I feel safe, that is. Where are the actual accusers, please? Wow, this is really long, but really fantastically good. My God. Okay. The voice feels less threatening after listening to you. Forget about trying to attack it. Still guarded, though, you wait for a response and quickly dart a look over to the light. There are some places out of here, in the other places, even familiar places, a room in your home, even your own bedroom, wherever you are nested, with intimate and recognizable objects that you have decorated, some with meaning, some for appeal, but nevertheless a safe environment, protective, sheltering you from the rest of the world, separating, or, God forbid, even your own prison if the circumstances fall in that direction, but solitary and confined behind those closed doors. Yeah, I wish for the life of me I could remember that for myself. Lights on. There are still small areas within that very room that are pretty much all of the time absent of light. Nooks, crannies, corners, underneaths and behinds. They hold dusty realms of forgotten things and undefinables. Lights off as the familiar objects ever slightly reform and twist just enough that they seem to become a little less known to you. A coat rack becomes a gaunt figure. A stretched shadow seems to be reaching forward. A picture on the wall holds faces of loved ones, but they seem somehow disfigured or conjoined. A pile of clothes becomes a small man sitting on a chair. This is when those small, ever-dark areas breach and reach out. Boundaries begin to fade, spreading outward, covering, invading what was once familiar. That ever-dark in its blackest center is where soul sits. Stare long enough with the patience and curiosity. As sleep begins to overpower you, you will see that what I say is true. As its door hinges looser and the locks undo, soul opens up. So, I'm in? The voice cuts you off. I have helped. With what I know, there is nothing more. You understand a little farther now. I've played my part. We may bump into each other again. Plus, I think you have a light you were planning on heading to. Sometimes you need to unfold all options to find more answers. Best of luck to you. Wait! Nothing as you stand there, somehow feeling the presence of the voice has already moved on, just as quickly as it came. Despondent with no way to give chase, you turn your attention to the pulsing light and begin to meander towards it. Onwards. UK. What in the hell? As you move closer, you realize the light wasn't pulsing at all, but swinging back and forth. Slowly coming to a standstill, it now sits above a man with no arms, sitting on an old cane and wood chair. He's staring right into your direction, but it seems as though there's been no notice of you yet. You are still in the darkness, just on the boundary of view. I know you're out there, he yells. Walk into the light. You step into the light. It feels surprisingly warm. For some reason, you smell menthol and mint. The man is breathing steadily. He hasn't made eye contact with you yet. His head is slightly tilted as if he's listening intently. You shuffle one of your feet to make a sound. He turns his head towards you. You realize he's... Yes, I am blind, he states, beating you to the thought as if he knew the shuffle of a foot was a test by the stranger before him. And harmless, in case you didn't notice. A foxy smirk slips across his face as his head juts upward. He has a gentlemanly voice. Young but stern, he is in good mood and you feel relaxed around him for some unknown reason. There are no walls around you, but the paneling of darkness has this way of making you feel as though when stepping onto the light, it's like stepping onto another room with divisions. And inside and outside the works, all the rules of physics a room comes with. Odd, you think to yourself as you quickly glance the surroundings. There is the cane chair he's sitting on, and the floor is a polished dark red wood with heavy grains across it. The deep yellow light bouncing off of the floor gives the atmosphere of a thick red wine look to it. It turns the man. He seems calm and cool, almost like a skin-toned brush stroke at the center of a canvas completely monotoned with this warm red. His pants in the chair are almost the same shade as the floor. He almost looks like a torso with a head floating in space. His pants are dark khaki and he is wearing blackish red boots. He is tall and gaunt. If he stood up, he would lurch over me, probably. Walking in the darkness, I see. What brings you over to me? I see. What an odd thing to say. The darkness, yes. Where is this place? Well, it's not dark in here, is it? For me, it's dark everywhere, but at different depths of gloom. It's the nothingness with a lot of something. Someone's and somewheres. I didn't invite you. You must be a drifter or lost, or both. You'd better keep lost, drifter, for everyone's sake. Never stop. Become still. Being still isn't your part to play in here. It's not the way things work. But then again, rules are meant to be played by. Till you question their existence. All I can say is don't leave your world here. There is no need to crash and burn. A part to play. Crash and burn. Yes, it's the reality of things, I suppose. Reality of things? What reality is this? Okay. He pauses for a long while. He then turns, but not with his foxy wry smile. It holds a more understanding expression. An expression knowing that answers are needed. Perhaps realities is a better way to phrase things. Sometimes one reality fades and another reality may blend through, filling the first reality's pores, but other times they don't. Other times they exist with each other, held together by the need to just exist, rubbing shoulders, hugging one another, or at the worst of circumstances, battling one another, where only one can ever be triumphant. It is at these times a fight for survival turns ugly, where one must eat the other who succumbs. I have seen this ugliness. I've been this ugliness. This ugliness is not just a state of mind. It is a necessity here, a mechanic of the workings, a rule of survival. Love-hate relationships, but relationships nonetheless, all destined to set each other on fire at some point, lusting for each other like colliding galaxies. Then another may be born, making it three, from Seul to the crumbs, and then over there. Sometimes, though, it's just a vacant lot awaiting construction to begin. A joke said in a room of unhappy individuals left to linger and dry in the center of the room, then go on to its own way, where it pleases, because it realizes within its own existence that it is not welcome there. Some sell themselves to the highest bidder. Some, well, they just fade away, move on, burn themselves out. Perhaps they are the smartest ones. You notice his stature change, and an air of seriousness fills the room. Even the light in the room seems to slightly warm and darken, adding the sense of gloom as he leans back against his chair, long and tall, chest and ribs exposed, laid bare. Human existence is lonely, he sighs and blindly stares at you. It's tasteless and dull, full of negativity, subordinates stinging below that big fiery ball. Subordinates sitting below that big fiery ball. Who gets to decide things? Anything, all things. And when decisions are made, who gets to enforce it? Should it entail surrendering all freedom? Is that the answer? Place ourselves in the decider's hands, the reader's? Or in the baker's hands, and hope the decider or the baker knows what's best for us? Why trust either of them? It's blind faith in a whole truth. He shifts slightly, and you feel yourself do the same, like someone yawning across the room, and you in turn suddenly need to stretch your mouth. Jesus Christ, there's a lot. Not that I'm complaining. Maybe, thanks to duality, one did not actually come before the other, and one is therefore not stronger than the other. So maybe, just maybe, the decided possibly even existed before the decision was even grappled with to begin with. If duality is the case, then their goal is going to end up polarized in one extreme or the other. The cynics will lean towards the negative, the optimist leaning towards the positive. Reality, neither one of them is more correct than the other. In fact, they are both equally incorrect. All they are really doing is playing favoritism games. If one recognizes the whole for what it is, then it is plain to see that getting caught up in either pole position is really not the place to be. He leans in, and although you know he is blind, you feel an odd sensation that he is staring right at you. Not just at you, but into you. So you suddenly feel less comfortable, violated in some slight way, naked almost. So what of non-duality then? Well, it's foreign and not welcoming as a concept to either of the extremists. Why? Because letting go of these attachments would mean a loss of identities. Yes, their precious, conceited identities. So why even stop and ponder then? Why contemplate issues that never were a bother to you? Why build castles in the air? Because this needs to be addressed in order to understand the order of here. The purpose, the answer, the darkness you find yourself in, and all that it holds here, in a place we name Soul. All the baker has built, and all the world outside where the crumbs dwell in the crumbs. From those Lumina to Wrigley, the origin place, or over there, so many characters at play, so many answers to find. But I tell you this, Drifter, here, Soul, where this darkness sits, it really is the connector, the key to all of them in the glue. Would you like to hear what that answer is? I'm gonna say no. I don't know. Be a long time to try and see the other version of it. Let's say yes. Wow. The answer is nothing anyway. Nothing. Ha 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 ha. There is nothing existing in the first place. Do you see it yet? How negative, how pessimistic you may think. Well, that couldn't be farther from the truth. See, pessimism and optimism are just elaborated before attached labels of value, whereas this nothing sees that there are no values attached until one chooses to ascend the label. It's detached, truly detached. Within the art of detachment there is no normal moral code, but more a rule of thumb, not to engage in any word or deed that would either enable attachment or hinder detachment, both in oneself and in others, not because it's good, bad, right, wrong, moral, or immoral, but because it is contrary to the essence of nothing in the first place. His fox smile emerges faintly on the edge of his lips. The darkness that engulfs us refrains from assigning distinctions because it enables attachments, but the attachment comes from you, and by your own choice. It does not hold anything within itself. In here, regarding the darkness, you cannot assign a value to no value, but when you do, that in itself becomes a value. However, a value we have not chosen to assign from our own point of view. It has no embodiment in the darkness itself. The darkness holds on to nothing. He relaxes back in his chair again, and his gaze moves off into the black backdrop, filling his lungs with a deep breath. Of course, there are the ones who warp this darkness, nature, into a perversion for their own beliefs. They give the false value that no value allows them to do whatever they wish, whatever they desire at all. But that is one big contrary to what this all is, and if you wander around here long enough, you will find them. The ones who employ the darkness and misuse it for their own purposes. I hope you never come across them. You can't help but to feel as though you've noticed a sense of duplicity in that last sentence. This place is not attached to anything. It is not good, it is not bad, it is not right, it is not wrong, it is not correct, and it is not incorrect. There is no position to take in here, for there is no position. It is not a value to uphold, for there is no value. It is not a reason to have, for there is no reason. It is not a meaning to place, for there is no meaning. It is not a purpose to find, for there is no purpose. He pauses, and a smile fills out his cheeks. The fox's smile has become something devilish. And it's not a narrative to follow and unraveled through choices or pathways, for there is no narrative. The softer fox smile returns, and the fiendish look dissipates. It is not non-existence, because non-existence is a concept of some state that only holds significance with conjecture to existence, meaning that non-existence is just another aspect that exists. No, this nothing, this darkness, what it is, can never be found so long as you are seeking and believing there is something to find. Why is lie? No and then lie here. I wonder if that means anything. There is nothing to be found, nothing and no thing, but it is not a suffering zone, bliss, perfection, utopia, mist, smoke, fog, void, or even empty space. It is nothing you can point to or allude to. It is not any sort of quality or state of being, and that is something, and there is no somethings. All that is something, and there are no somethings here that actually are part of the darkness. From there are merely indwellers, something filling a sort of space. It has no labels because it's beyond labels. This shit doesn't feel like nothing to me. It feels like something. I'm something. I am. Surely if I am, then this is, or is it not? Is it really just nothing? How absurd. A way station of nothing. You think to yourself as your head hurts, and you are filled with a feeling that there is something not quite real about any of this. Jeez, there's a lot. You are all of anything that is something here. It's just a visitor, a tourist, a tenant. You should really try to understand what it is and think you are getting yourself into. And to understand this is to reach understanding that there isn't really anything to understand. But look at you. I think you're still not ready for it, because you play this game with choices and pathways that have attachments that you could never get rid of. Your ideas, beliefs, concepts, and convictions. You choose your very path to here. Your values, purpose, meanings, outside narrative, your distinctions of good, bad, wrong, right, evil. Good, correct, and incorrect make you play a game that isn't worth playing, but you still cannot tell because you have played it as anyone else, and you have played it soul alone, with all of us in here, and no individual necessarily has a place in it. His body relaxes, and his head leans back over the chair. His neck stretches as his Adam's apple punches out from his throat. It moves up and down like a ping-pong ball pushed by air. As he whispers something over and over again, you cannot hear it, but his voice sounds like a wet serpent moving through reeds and shallow gray water. Move close and listen to his words. You move closer, but it's still a whisper, almost as he intentionally lowered his volume. Move in closer. You move in close to him, leaning towards him to hear his words. You notice he has a stale, sweet sweat smell to him. You listen as the word slowly fights its way through a sticky, stringy gargle of secreted film. Ew. He lunges... Oh, God. He lunges at your throat. Before you have time to react, you feel his teeth bite into you with vicious and a gripping power of lockjaw. You try to raise your hand, but the strength is already gone. He hangs on to you, and with his monstrous strength as he raises himself from the seat, you are lifted off the ground, dangling from his mouth like a lion with a fresh kill. As your throat tears away from his mouth under your own body weight, you hit the ground like a rag doll, gasping through blood curdles for your breath as your body enters shock. You feel the air enter coolly through your open throat. With every sharp inhale, your tongue feels like a piece of floppy raw meat in your mouth. A cold chill rises over your body, slowly but steadily like foam, raising in a sink or bath. As the water runs, your blood leaves you, and you feel the darkness invading you as your body loses all control and begins to slowly twitch like a deep state of sleep. Every twitch brings your consciousness back and then begins immediately to slip away again. There is nothing left until you are... He looks down at you, eyes glazed over with no real focus, Blood drips from his mouth as he spits out the chunk of your flesh to the side. I consume you, not for any pleasure of eating you, but for the enjoyment of vomiting you up later. Ew, good lord, that's gross. His bloodlet smile has turned to true menace as his pearl-white teeth shine through a white marble tombstone. Some say there is a sort of tranquility in the end, an equilibrium of bliss and eternal rest, like arms of angels come to hold you, casting out all its pretenses, allowing you to wholly and finally let go. How effing optimistic. When one is truly soul alone. The end. I need like a long time to basically to digest everything I just read. This game was fantastic. I'm so glad I received the code for it. I still don't know why, but maybe that's not the point, is it? Maybe it's just another interaction. Anyways, this game was amazing. It's fantastic. Go check it out for yourselves if you get the chance. I didn't expect it to be this deep or enthralling to read. It was the best stuff that I have ever played. It was the best choose your own adventure type of like game, text-based game like this. I don't play a lot usually, but it's the best one I've ever played. I couldn't let it go. I had to keep reading. I had to keep choosing. I had to keep understanding. Anyways, it was amazing. So thank you, Paranormal Games, for this lovely little interaction. It was fantastic. And so, yeah, so that was Soul Alone. If you want to see another choice, another path, then let me know, and I'll definitely come play another one. But as for now, that was it, and I enjoyed it so much, so thoroughly. It was amazing. The best writing I've seen in a while in any kind of game like this. The best narrative ever. It's beautiful in a way. I don't know. Anyways, it was amazing. It was deep. It was profound. It was nonsense. It was everything at once. Anyways. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe and check out my videos, and let me know if you want to see any more from Soul Alone, the entree. Bon appetit.